Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the today's session. Today we are going to discuss about digital signatures concept. See, the most important development from the public key cryptography is the digital signatures. So we had message authentication. This message authentication protects the two parties who exchange the messages from any third party. So whatever the information we want to share through the network, so that is protected by the message authentication. Okay, but it does not protect the two parties against each other. Okay, so against each other. So if it cannot say from A to B and B to A. See, the digital signature, which is similar to the handwritten signature. Say for example, in an invigilation, the invigilator is signing on your booklet. Or you can take another example, banking example. See, if you go to the bank to do any kind of transaction, that maybe you want to deposit the money, or you want to withdraw the money, or say for example you want to issue the check, for all these kinds of transactions, so there the signature field is mandatory. See, for what purpose they introduced or they forced you to sign? The reason is for the authentication. See, with your signature is that made into a soft copy and it is stored in the system with your account number. So whenever you issue any deposit form, withdrawal form, check form, anything, so they will cross check the signature on the paper with the signature they have. If any mismatch, and they may question you, the signature is not matching. So that is the purpose of handwritten signature. What purpose? To provide the security, or we can say to provide the authentication. Okay. So this digital signature is similar to that. It will provide a set of security capabilities, so that would be difficult to implement in any other way. Means others cannot do that. See, it must have the following properties, the digital signature properties. Let us see. It must verify the author. Who is the author? The main person. And the date and time of the signature. When and what date and by what time he has signed. They will cross verify. See, it must to authenticate the content. So what content is there in the data? So at the time of the signature, what is the content is there? It has to be saved. Say for example, you have given the check for 20,000. If another zero is added, what happens? The figure changes. So it should not happen. They won't allow. It must be verifiable by third parties to resolve disputes. So some other persons or some other system will observe that whatever we are performing, whether it is okay or not. So if any disputes come, they have to resolve with these credentials. See, the digital signature function, it includes the authentication function. So we already discussed what is authentication. See, the authentication is, say for example, A wants to send some data to the B, right? Then what A has to do? A has to perform the encryption. It has to perform the encryption with the private key of B. With the private key of B, PRB. Okay. See, after performing the encryption, then it can send the data to the B. Because of this, what you can understand, the B can clearly understand that, so it is came from the A. So the private key is there. Now the B can use the public key of B itself, and then it will get the plain text. Okay. So here there is an authentication, means you can say it will not be, when you are sending this information, when we are transmitting this information through the network, it is secure. So the others are not allowed to do any modifications or attack. Okay. See, a variety of approaches has been proposed for the digital signature functions. These approaches are categorized into two. One is direct signature and another one is arbitrated signature. So totally we had two categories. One is direct signature and another one is arbitrated signature. So what is direct signature? It is this digital signature, this direct digital signature is only include two parties. Those are sender and the receiver. No other one is received. So one send the message and the other one to receive it, just two parties. According to this direct digital signature, both parties has to trust each other, and also they should know their public key. What is that? In a, according to direct digital signature, both the parties should trust each other and also knows their public key. What do you mean by this? Let us take A, it is B. See, if you want to send data from A to B, if you use private key of A, this one, to perform the encryption, then B must know the public key of, we have to represent with U, public key of PUA, right? See here, direct digital signature, both parties trust each other and knows their public key. So B should knows the public key of the sender A, and vice versa. Vice versa means if B wants to send any information, it should know the PUB. Okay, right? So the message are prone to get corrupted, and the sender can declines about the message sent by him anytime. If any message in the transaction, in the transmission, if it is corrupted, then the sender sent by that receiver can uh, remove it at any time. They can decline. Okay. So the sender can decline about the message sent by him anytime because it has corrupted. The data is corrupted. Okay. See this diagram. You can observe here two ends. One is sender, another one is receiver. With a private key of sender, we are performing the encryption. I'll give you an example. X, let us take S is sender, R is receiver. Okay. Now, the sender wants to send an information to the R. Okay. Then what the S has to do? You can observe here, private key of sender. It will do the encryption with a private key of sender, PRS. Okay. The message what we want to send to the R receiver, that has to be encrypted by using the private key, PR. This is PRS. It means private key of yes. Okay. and then it was transmitted through the network and it is reached to the R. So the receiver, what it do, the public key of sender, it should know the public key of sender. So how to represent the public key of sender? PUS. It should know the public key of the sender. Then by using this public key of this yes, it will perform the decryption. It will perform the decryption and it will get the plain text. Okay, see here, encrypted message. So this is what will perform in the direct digital signature. In the direct digital signature. So here only two parties will be there. One is sender, another one is the receiver. The sender will send the data to the receiver. Before that, it will perform the encryption by using its own private key, and then the data will be transmitted. The receiver receives it, then it should know the public key of the sender. By using that public key, it will decrypt and it will get the original content. So it performs the decryption here. This is the direct digital signature. Next one, arbitrated digital signature. So here it includes three parties. Three parties. One is sender, second one is receiver, third one is arbiter. Okay, so this arbiter will become the medium for sending and receiving the messages between them. So it is in between the sender and the receiver. Okay, see, the message are less prone to get corrupted because of timestamp being included by default. So what do you mean by this timestamp? See, whenever you decided to send some data through the network, here it will be added the timestamp. Means within a particular mentioned time, the data has to reach the destination from the source. Then only it will consider it is a correct data. Otherwise, it will decline the data. The reason is it was delayed. In the mentioned time, the data was not reached to the destination. So at that time, they will simply decline that message or the data which were sent by the through the network. You can observe here. See, this is X is the X is the sender. X is the sender. Okay, and Y is the receiver. Y is receiver. So this Z is works as a mediator. Okay, and this is the arbitrary. This is the arbitrary. Now you can observe here, when X is sending the data to the Y receiver, it is giving the Y's ID. I mean receiver's ID, it was mentioned, and then it is given the timestamp. So what is the timestamp? I told you it will mention a time. So in that time it has to be reached. Okay, and now in between this Z, this arbitrary will verify that and it will send to the Y. So see that it will check that the XID is the sender ID, and it will see that the timestamp which were sent by the sender, and it will verify this timestamp and it will send to the Y. And then the Y receives the information that sent by the sender and it decrypts and gets the original message. Okay, so this is what happened in the arbitrary digital signature. Okay, next concept, digital certificate. Digital certificate. So these digital certificates is issued by the third party, trusted third party, which provides sender's identity to the receiver and receiver's identity to the sender. So identity is the authentication. So how we can recognize? See how you can recognize a person. By seeing them you can recognize, right? By seeing them you can recognize. So here this digital certificate are sending their IDs. If A wants to send the data to the B, then it is sending the ID of A. Okay, by that it can identify, yes, this information is came from the A or it is came from the B, so that it is clearly understood by the users in the network. So a digital certificate is a certificate issued by the certificate authority to verify the identity of the certificate holder. So here it will be verified, right? So this certificate authority issues the encrypted digital certificate, which will contain the applicant's public key and a variety of other identification information. So all the parameters are encrypted and given as a digital signature, then it will be issued. So this digital certificate is used to attach public key with a particular individual or an entity, right? See, in such a way, the security is provided. So what the digital certificate contains? It is having the name of the certificate holder, the serial number. It is uniquely identified. It is a unique number generated. It is a certificate number, we can say. The individual or the entity identify the certificate. Expiration dates, so when it will expire, that also mentioned. The copy of the certificate holder public key. Okay, for what purpose? When we are sending, we are performing the encryption with the private key. They should have the public key to decrypt. Okay, and the fifth one, the digital signature of the certificate issuing authority. See who has issued this, and all of these details are included in the digital certificate for the security purpose. Okay, so here you can see the differences between the digital certificate and the digital signature. See here, under the what is the definition? The digital signatures are like the fingerprint or an attachment to the digital document, so that ensures its authenticity and integrity. So digital certificate is a file which ensures holder's identity and provides the security. So these are the definitions. What are the process or steps? Hashed value of original message is encrypted with the sender's secret key to generate the digital signature. So what it is performing here? It is performing the hash function and it will generate the hash value, and that hash value will be encrypted using the sender's secret key. So it will generate the digital signature. Here it is generated by the certifying authority that involves 4 steps. First it will generate the key and it will perform the registration and verification and then creation. So these are the 4 steps it will follow. And then security services. So this authenticity of sender, integrity of the document and non-repudiation is the services. Here it provides the security and the authenticity of certificate holder. Standard. It follows the DSS, digital signature standard, in the signature, and in the certificate it follows the X.509 standard format to provide the certificate. So these are the differences between digital signature and digital certificate. Okay, so this is about the digital certificate And digital signature, these are used for the security purpose in the network to protect our data while we are transmitting from one end to the another end. Okay, thank you.